Scrivener, Lubbock Master Gardener and friend of the Lubbock Public Library. For Lubbock gardeners, we're all aware that one of our key factors to consider is water. We're aware of city watering restrictions, and we read reports of the low water levels in the sources for our city water. So today we're at the High Plains Water District, and they have a demonstration garden here that shows drought-tolerant and water-tolerant planting. We're going to meet today with Catherine Drury, who's also a Lubbock Master Gardener and the Education Director here at the High Plains Water District. So let's meet Catherine and learn more about it. So hi Catherine, it's good to see you today.
Good to see you too, Betsy.
So we need to know, what is the High Plains Water District?
Right, so the High Plains Water District is actually the first and the largest groundwater conservation district in the state of Texas. We cover an area from O'Donnell and Lynn County all the way up into a portion of Amarillo, New Mexico state line, a couple of counties over to the Cap Rock. So about the size of Maryland, actually. But when we were formed in 1951, we were charged with protecting, preserving, and conserving the groundwater within our district boundaries.
Okay.
So we have our aquifers. You know our big one, right?
Ogallala,
yes ma'am. So we've got the Ogallala and then two minor aquifers actually in Lubbock County too.
I didn't know that.
We've got the Edwards Trinity High Plains as well as the Daca. But the Ogallala is going to be the most widely used. So what we do here at the High Plains Water District is we collect data on the groundwater within our district boundaries and share it with the public. So we do water level measurements, we do permitting of water wells, we even participate in regional and statewide water planning. But really, the bulk of what we do, ultimately what our goal is to take science-based information and translate that into recommendations about groundwater within our area, and of course promoting conservation. Everyone has the power to conserve water and to actually make the world a little bit of a better place by doing so. And so that's what we're here to do, is to encourage conservation of our groundwater resources for our children, grandchildren, and great-grandchildren to enjoy West Texas forever.
Oh, I think that sounds good. And I know that you have resources that help homeowners so that they can garden with water more effectively and even know what plants to plant.
Yes, absolutely. So we have a variety of different resources on our website, whether that's about rainwater harvesting, actively catching it in a barrel, or passively like it in our rain garden. We've got information on water-wise landscaping, so we're going to walk you through the 7 earth-kind steps of developing a water-wise landscape, and some other plant resources as well. One program that we launched last year is called Water My Yard. So Water My Yard is actually an extension program that is sponsored in Lubbock County by the High Plains Water District.
Okay.
So we have a weather station out in Wolford that collects precipitation data, solar radiation information, everything you could want to know about West Texas weather, and translates that into a prescribed irrigation amount for your lawn. So you can sign up at hpwd.org/watermyyard for prescribed irrigation recommendations each week.
So that helps then, because I know there's some restrictions on watering that the city has.
Yes.
But that would help us to know when to water, when to run those sprinklers.
Yes. And how much. It'll tell you need to run it for 8 minutes this week or 15 minutes. So you put in some information about the type of irrigation system that you have, and it spits out this beautiful recommendation that says, okay, water for 53 minutes this week or whatever it is. So
that sounds great.
It's neat. It's a free program, easy to use, and where we use a lot of our water outdoors in the summertime is watering our grass. So if we can cut that down, or really know how much we're putting on there, we're doing a good job using our water wisely.
Is there any other information that you have for gardeners that would be helpful for their...
Absolutely. So my biggest tip for folks when it comes to watering, especially our grass, is don't set it, forget it. If you had your irrigation set, your scheduler set 2 years ago by the person who installed it, you might want to check on it again.
Okay.
Sometimes what we see is people accidentally set it for 150 minutes instead of 15 minutes. There's some of those simple things that you can go in and tweak and look at and make sure, am I really utilizing my water wisely? I actually had a coworker here at the Water District determine how much money it cost him each time he ran his irrigation system. It was $10 each time.
Okay.
And so if you can kind of put a dollar amount on how much you're using and look at it, you're not only going to save money, but you're going to save water as well.
Catherine, one of your jobs here is to help homeowners know about drought-tolerant plants, good gardening techniques for Lubbock. So can you show us around the demonstration garden here?
Absolutely. So where we're standing right now is on our parking lot. And our parking lot is actually part of our garden. Might not look like it, but it acts as kind of a catchment area for all the rainfall that falls on this parking lot. So we've got an 8,000 square foot parking lot that when the rain falls on it, it rolls down and into our rain garden. So you're familiar with rainwater harvesting,
Oh,
right?
yes,
Yep.
yes.
So a lot of times we think about collecting that rainwater in a barrel and using it later. A rain garden is a passive way to collect rainwater. So we're collecting the rainwater in the soil for the plants to use it immediately and for weeks to come.
That sounds great.
It's fantastic. So our goal of a rain garden is to slow it, flow it, grow it. We're slowing the water down, flowing it to where it needs to go, and growing something with it. So we're going to take the trip of a water drop, okay?
All right.
All right.
Sounds good.
So we're a raindrop that has fallen from the sky, and we're going to roll down our slanted parking lot here.
Okay.
And eventually we're going to make our way to the concrete parking blocks here. And that is going to slow us down. Because if this rainwater hits the plants and all that soil right there, it's going to start eroding it away, right? So we're slowing down once we get to the concrete blocks here. We're slowing down even more when we hit the river cobble. And then we're going to be living in the rain garden for a little bit.
Okay. That sounds great.
It is. And so it does fill up with about 1 inch of rainfall and collects 5,000 gallons of rainwater.
Oh, wow.
So have you driven, it is a lot of rainwater. Have you ever driven down Avenue Q when it's rained?
Yes.
You might need to bring a paddle, right?
Yes. It's pretty full of water.
It does. And so what we're doing is we're collecting that rainwater for free and keeping it out of the street and the stormwater drain and letting our plants utilize it.
Great.
Absolutely. So, and then when we get the rainwater in there, it will stand for a couple of days. So we got about 1.5 to 2 inches of rain last night here at the Water District office, and there is some standing water still out there. So what do you think of when you think of standing water?
Kind of mucky and muddy and
Mucky, smelly,
Yeah.
mosquitoes.
Oh, yes.
Yes. So the goal of our rain garden is to not hold that water for a long period of time. So we've got sand and some compost in there that allows the rain to soak in.
Okay.
It
Good.
evaporates,
Yes.
it soaks in, the plants use it for weeks, we hardly have to irrigate this area. And then some of that rainwater actually percolates down past the plant's roots and eventually makes its way to the aquifers for recharge.
Perfect.
It's biodiverse, it's fun, it's beautiful.
Catherine, what is it you're growing here in the rain garden?
We have got a wide variety of plants here. So, and we actually have 2 different types of ecosystems here. So we've got in the middle of the rain garden, plants that don't mind wet feet. So we've got grasses, we've got some wild rye, we've got a large poverty weed or a type of willow that has blown in. We didn't plant that here. So it's kind of taken on a mind of its own a little bit.
That's where the wind actually helps us out, isn't it?
Absolutely, yes. And so the poverty willow, that larger plant there, is not the only traveler we've had. We've also had all of our Mexican hat or the prairie coneflower blow in. We've had coreopsis, some native gaura, just blow in from our neighbors. So wildflowers are so much fun because we share them even if we don't mean to. And so we've got on top of that, we've got, like I said, some different grasses in the middle. And then on the north and the south side of the garden, we've got different drought tolerant plants. So on this side here, on the south side, we've got some more shade-friendly plants. We've got silverberry, coralberry, one of my favorites, inland sea oat, which is a shade-loving, drought-tolerant plant. And it's so much fun. It kind of glitters when the seed heads get on there. When the wind blows, they kind of shimmer a little bit. Our trees are all cedar elms, and so pretty native adaptive to our area. We've got, of course, the red yucca or the Hesper aloe, which I learned recently from our horticulture agent, Christina Reed, that those are one of the only flowers that are still open at night. So our night
interesting.
pollinators, like our moths, like those. Yes.
That's great. Now, for the grasses that you have, do most of them spread on their own? Are there any that I'm thinking about a homeowner who may not want grasses going into their turf? Are there any kinds of drought tolerant things that they could use in their beds or in the places where they wanted to stay?
Right. Yes. So with our grasses, they are self-reseeding, so they are kind of spreading a little bit, but they're contained for the most part. But we want that here. Now, what we have drought tolerant wise for our beds is on this north side. We've got yarrow, artemisia, knockout roses, all of those good West Texas drought tolerant plants that we like to use.
Well, maybe we should walk up and look at
You want to
those.
come look at them? Awesome. And they look really healthy. We did lose a couple of plants this year to the freeze that we had back in February. So some of our silverberry is kind of sad looking. One of our knockout roses kind of got taken out a little bit, but we're holding on hope. So if you come out here and check out the garden and things look a little crunchy or freeze damaged, well, we're just going to see if they live for next year. We're kind of doing an experiment, but down on this end of the garden, it does stay a little bit drier. So that's where we've got some of our wildflowers. Our yarrow is doing fantastically this year. It
It
looks
looks so
so
bright.
beautiful.
I love the bright yellow.
That's the moonshine variety. So that's one we see a lot around town. What I love about this one is it does really well next to concrete. It does not mind that hot heat.
So you've got a wonderful wildflower garden right here on Avenue Q in the middle of Lubbock.
Exactly.
great.
It's biodiverse. We get a lot of, bees and butterflies out here in the summertime, and it's kind of a nice stopover place for pollinators to stop, get a drink, and
And head on.
head on. Yeah.
Good. Thanks so much.
Absolutely.
Is there anything else in the garden that you need to show us?
So we do have drip irrigation for those really, really dry times, but for the most part, we don't need to water this area because of the amount of rainwater that we collect.
That's great.
One other feature that we do have in our parking lot that's really neat is our permeable parking spots. We've got 2 permeable parking spots.
And how are those constructed?
So a permeable parking spot has it's not concrete. It allows the rainwater to flow through it and hopefully eventually recharge our aquifer. Now, what we have here isn't enough to really recharge an area. It's just to show how they work. But if you were to decide to put in some permeable pavers, you would not be creating large amounts of stormwater runoff. And
That's also a great help for homeowners, but even construction. If people are making parking lots for their business or something.
absolutely. So
Use permeable.
permeable pavers are a good choice, but rain gardens are also another good choice. So we
That's
are
great.
utilizing the asphalt to the best of its ability out here.
Okay, good. Catherine, we're right here on busy Avenue Q, right in the middle of Lubbock. Can people just come by and see the garden?
Absolutely. The garden is available for access 24/7. We're at 2930 Avenue Q. The garden's technically located at 29th and Avenue Q. We've got a nice seating area, some good shade. Bring your lunch and enjoy a little bit of wildlife in the middle of Lubbock.
Oh, I think that sounds wonderful. Thank you so much.
Thank you.